Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. This is going to be your daily cryptocurrency market update, and this is going to be an important one because we're actually going to be looking at the US financial system at large, and actually why I believe you should almost just long everything at this point. Now, I'm not talking about leverage longs, I'm talking about hedge your bets against the US dollar, and what I mean by that is being something that's against it, whether that be Bitcoin, it could be gold. You know, I think alt season is still to start. And ultimately, guys, you will know my stance. We've been loading up on cryptos since the start of the year. January, it's all public. And you still have an opportunity to do so. And I'm going to be playing a number of clips here from a Fed member to start with. And then, of course, Janet Yellen, really highlighting the absolute BS that is the US monetary system. And people, and you guys on the channel, I'm sure that follow regularly are well clued up with this. But certain people need to wake up to this because this is beyond the joke now. I wish we could even call it a game, but the fact of the matter is what the Fed, what the US are doing, and it's why we're seeing BRICS nations get a record influx of applications. We're seeing countries left, right, and center actually favor the yuan over the dollar. You know, it's time to wake up to actually what the hell is going on here. This was great, and I posted this a while ago. The people who are 30 trillion, it's more than that in debt, by the way, guys, now, are giving you a credit score. And we're going to look at a number of things. This is why we see, for example, the Euro Stock 50 approaching new highs, because even though they've tried this monetary tightening, and we'll link all this to the markets, it just simply doesn't work. The system does not work like that. They've done that in the name of fighting inflation. If the Fed is not careful, they're going to end up with high inflation and having to hyperinflate the money supply, this hyper stagflationary environment that we're kind of already in, but it's really accelerating, and we're going to be highlighting that. We'll look at Bitcoin. You guys know we think Bitcoin's at this key level. We have a plan, ultimately, for where we think Bitcoin is going, and you've got this kind of blessing right now. It's very boring. It's this hurry up and wait kind of situation that we're in, where Bitcoin and crypto isn't really doing a lot. However, it's providing a great entry point, in my opinion, certainly for Bitcoin and altcoins, which are still yet to perform. We'll also talk about, you can see actually, this is Twitter. If you look where I'm hovering my cursor, guys, you now have a Dogecoin or a Doge in replace for the Twitter logo. I do have a little bit of beef with Elon over this. However, you know, you've got to admire the guy. He's an amazing entrepreneur, the best, or one of the best. And, you know, he's done many, many great things. And I'm sure Dogecoin holders are very happy about this. And he's really doing this to troll the people that have got a lawsuit against him. So without further ado, guys, current crypto market is 1.17 trillion. So we're back over that trillion mark. Let's get on with the video. And let's start by playing a clip from one of the Fed members talking about the banking system and why it's safe.
You don't need to. Your ATM is safe. Your banks are safe. There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system. You don't need to.
I'm just going to play it once more, right? So this is the title to this is Never Forget That One Time the Fed Admitted They Can Print Infinite Cash. Also, those eyes are something.
Your ATM is safe. Your banks are safe. There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
There's an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve, and that's true. You know, these guys can just print money. This is ultimately what they do. They do this by issuing debt. The debt is never going to be paid. Let's move on to Yellen now talking about this.
So $51 trillion of debt up from $33 trillion doesn't bother you?
I think the path that is set out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
So $51 trillion of debt up from $33 trillion doesn't bother you?
I think the path that is set out in the president's budget is fiscally sustainable.
You are in, and I don't want to sound like a preacher here, but the end times for the US dollar. This is insanity, right? They are telling you, it's not just the US, by the way, I'm picking on the US here, but I use the US as a barometer for largely the Western world. You are in, or it is a complete scam. How many of you guys wanted to get up and go to work today? You should work. I'm a believer you should work. I don't think Nirvana is for this world. And I do believe that we should work. Everybody, essentially, unless, you know, anyway. However, you should work for a fair value system. This is what Bitcoin came about as a result of, and it's why it's caught a bid under the likes of Silicon Valley Bank and all of these things failing. What this Fed member is saying is they can just basically print, they have an unlimited amount of money. So what does that do? If your wage is $12 an hour or whatever it is, I don't know what the standard wage in the US is, off the top of my head. What does that really mean? Because that $12 today that you've spent 9 hours or whatever it is working for, doing your 9 to 5, really is meaningless. Because right now it will get you a certain amount of things, but the fact of the matter is, you're working for that when they can just print it. It doesn't make sense, and it is the biggest scam, the biggest Ponzi out there. And the fact that they're just continuing to increase their debt, the problem that they've got with debt right now is it's spiraling. It took them 215 years. You will remember I posted this a while ago and made a video on it, to print $7 trillion. It took them not even 2 to do the same thing with the March 2020 events and subsequently what followed after. This is why I'm saying you can kind of long anything against the dollar now. And what they've tried to do is rein this back and gain some credibility over the past year. But what they found is they actually cannot do that. We know why Bitcoin has sold off. Let's pull up the Fed balance sheet. See if we can get this up. Federal Reserve, we don't want effective funds. Where are we? Or we can use this. You know, you can see that they've tried to fight inflation with putting pressure on the system. The problem is the system needs to continue to inflate. Now what you've got is you've got the 2-year yields that's already doing this. The Fed funds is likely to follow because they can't keep it up. And this is why actually fundamentally we're saying we're long Bitcoin and long crypto. And we took that punt at the start of the year, all off technical reasons. And now the fundamentals have followed. We didn't know Silicon Valley Bank were going to fail or any of the others. These guys are playing a game with your life. And ultimately, you know, this is why we think, and Bilagi's right in what he's saying. He's just not going to get it quite in the time frame, right? The game is up. These guys at this point don't care. 30 trillion. It's moving up to 50 something trillion. And people are just belligerent to it. You need to take action. And now I'm a crypto guy. I'm not even saying that you need to buy crypto. Buy something. If you're still in this system 100%, get something outside of it. Even if it's a small amount. Because the game is up, and what you're going to get is you're going to get the realization all at once. It's likely going to be on the fact, and we're already seeing people run from the dollar. You're going to get a mass dumping of that system into whatever is available. And this is why JP Morgan were issuing warnings like, you're going to own what you're going to own at one point. It's crazy, and it's important, and I wouldn't be doing my job as a human being if I wasn't warning people of this. We've always believed crypto is a technological advancement. And ultimately, it fits very perfectly at a time where the current financial system is completely failing. You know, the game is up, guys. Good for us as investors, but generally I think it's quite bad because there's a lot of people. And this is why we see the likes of the Euro Stock 50 approaching new highs. Because although they've tried to talk tough, they've already added 2/3 of what they took off the balance sheet in the wake of Silicon Valley Bank. And that's likely to continue. The Fed have just opened the floodgates. It's why Silicon Valley Bank, and you saw insiders, the markets generally, you know, if we look at the stock market, for example, been rallying since October. They've been doing this because they know what's coming. Stock market's about to take this high out. You're going to end up with a new high for the stock market, by the way, before whatever the yield curve takes place is. And by the way, guys, we called all this down shorting all this, as well as Bitcoin, and we really pivoted round about here and said, actually, and we had lower prices of coming down here. We said, this is going to get really bad if they keep doing what they're doing, but they've been stopped in their tracks in regards to doing what they're doing because they can't do it without imploding their entire system. And they've tried. They're a failed experiment at this point, guys. And if you look at modern monetary theory, you're actually seeing that play out with the capitulation of small banks going into larger banks. And this is what they want. They want a direct check-in with the Fed. Now, it is still bleak across the board with certain metrics, whether it be, housing in Manhattan, whether it be, there's a number of things going on that show pretty bleak outlooks. However, people ignore the backdrop that the Fed are now basically and have admitted that they're just going to have to basically bail everyone out again. And they can't keep doing what they're doing. So important that I do videos like this. Let's look at the crypto market. You guys know where I think we're going. This is how you get there. We were long in here, by the way, guys. If you want to find out what I'm buying, where I'm buying, how I'm buying, please do join the Patreon. It's only £30 a month, and it's well worth it, in my opinion. I've joined many groups out there, and I've got to admit the vast majority are subpar is being nice. We've got a really good community behind us of like-minded individuals, and we've been making excellent calls all of last year and certainly this year onwards, and we're going to look to continue to do so. You've got this period of rest right now for Bitcoin, where ultimately, it's ran into this area of price action that we formed on the way down, and it's consolidating in a similar way to what it did over here. Let's get a bit more... You can see you ran into resistance here. You consolidated, you pulled back. You're doing the same thing here, guys, as you've ran into this. You're going to do one or two things, right? You're either going to go up or you're going to go down. You could do something like this, where you have one spill, you come back and test this, and then set up, or you could set up and go. Accumulate, and this is not financial advice, just personally what I'm doing, crypto here. If you haven't already and look to take it to the upside. And we've done lots of analysis on altcoins as well. We think that generally the market's in this kind of 5-wave structure to the upside. We've got a 35k target from our inverse head and shoulders. And we think the macro backdrop's largely going to support this. I think you're going to get lower CPI for March. Of course, we're going to get that in April. And I think this is going to largely fuel things. This is just coming in on CNBC. This is from Jamie Dimon, says the banking crisis is not over and will cause repercussions for years to come. Very interesting what's going on right now. The banking crisis is far from over and is actually likely to accelerate. But don't worry, because the Fed has the banks back. And that means they're just going to print money. And when you're looking at Bitcoin, you're looking at it against US dollars. The US dollar is in a world of pain right now, guys, and it's going to continue to do so. And that supports our risky markets. Other bit of news, Elon Musk, Dogecoin, futures liquidations jump. Yeah, so lots of people got wrecked. Don't short and trade Dogecoin, guys, because you've got Elon Musk against you, whether you're long or even short. And essentially, he's replaced the Twitter icon you can see here with the Dogecoin logo. So Dogecoin's obviously done very well on that. If people are making money, I'm a happy boy. I just can't help but, you can see Dogecoin up 25% on the day, and on the 7 days, 33%. Starting to outperform. Could this be kicking off alt season? Not so sure. Go and look at your Bitcoin pairs. But ultimately, that's the main message, guys. These guys it's over for the banking system now. We've rode out the downside ultimately caused by what they're doing, and we're now saying that they can't continue to do that. That's what the 2-year yield is telling us. And this is why we're long the markets again, and we're looking to really capitalize off what is a bad situation. But that's the way it goes, guys. At the end of the day, I'm a trader and investor. That's what I do for a living. It's how I make my income. And ultimately, I'm here to share that journey with you guys, and it's one I'm absolutely honored to be on. So not a great deal of crypto news, just more what's going on with Elon. It's quite lackluster. I think ultimately this market's just stalling. You're stalling at key technical levels, looking for that setup and continuation of the upside. Bitcoin's going to 35k. We called for 30k, and we said you might get 30k at the start of March, a little bit early on that. But ultimately, we are long and strong. All I've got for you in this video, guys. You enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it as a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gents. See you in the next.